The setting sun cast long, eerie shadows over Edgewood. Sarah hurried along the deserted path leading to the old warehouse. It stood at the edge of town, a looming silhouette against the fiery sky.
A shiver ran down my spine.
She pulled her jacket tighter, quickening her pace. Sarah reached into her pocket, her fingers closing around her phone. She punched in Emily's number. It went straight to voicemail.
Hey Em, it's me. Where are you? I'm at the warehouse.
She hung up, a knot of worry forming in her stomach. Emily was always punctual.
Emily?
Sarah called out, her voice echoing in the cavernous space. The air hung heavy and still, thick with the smell of dust and decay. She stepped inside cautiously. Broken windows allowed slivers of fading light to pierce the gloom.
This place gives me the creeps. Why couldn't we meet at the diner like always?
Don't be such a scaredy cat. It'll be fun, an adventure.
Sarah had laughed, but now her laughter seemed distant and hollow in the oppressive silence of the warehouse. Sarah's heart pounded as she moved deeper into the warehouse. Where was Emily? She called out again, her voice cracking with a tremor of fear. There was no answer, only the echo of her own voice.
Emily.
Panic welled up inside her. She stumbled over a loose plank, her eyes scanning the shadows. Something glinting in the dim light caught her eye. It was Emily's phone, lying cracked on the ground. A cold dread gripped her. Emily wasn't just late. Something was terribly wrong. Detective James, a seasoned officer with a world-weary demeanor, surveyed the scene. The warehouse, with its air of desolation and decay, seemed to amplify the grim reality of Emily's disappearance.
Tell me everything you remember, Sarah.
Sarah, her face pale and drawn, recounted her last conversation with Emily.
She sounded nervous, like someone was watching her.
James listened intently, his gaze sharp and unwavering. He had seen enough to know that this was more than a simple missing person case. Days turned into an agonizing blur. The investigation continued, but Emily remained missing. Just when Sarah's hope began to dwindle, a package arrived. It was addressed to her, the handwriting unfamiliar and strangely elegant.
Inside, she found a small antique key and a handwritten note. The key to her freedom lies where secrets are kept, it read. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Could this be the answer she had been desperately seeking? A mix of fear and hope surged through her. She had to find out.
Following a hunch, Sarah raced towards the old library at the edge of town. The streets were eerily quiet, the only sound being her hurried footsteps echoing against the cobblestones. She could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on her, every second counting as she sprinted towards her destination. The old library loomed ahead, its ancient facade a stark contrast to the modern buildings around it. Sarah's mind raced with thoughts of what she might find inside, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. The key fit perfectly into the lock of a weathered chest tucked away in a dusty corner. The library was filled with the scent of old books and dust, the air thick with history. Sarah's hands trembled slightly as she turned the key, the metal cool against her skin. She had no idea what she would find inside, but she knew it was important. The lock clicked open, and she lifted the lid with a sense of trepidation. Inside, she found a faded photograph and a letter revealing a shocking secret. Emily's family had been involved in a long-standing feud with another prominent family in town. The photograph was old, the edges worn and the image slightly faded, but it was clear enough to see the faces of the people in it. The letter, written in elegant script, detailed a history of betrayal and revenge that spanned generations. Sarah's eyes widened as she read, the implications of the feud becoming clear. This was more than just a personal vendetta. It was a deeply rooted conflict that had affected many lives.
Looking for this? She sneered, holding up Emily's necklace. The woman's voice was filled with malice, her eyes glinting with a cruel satisfaction. The necklace dangled from her fingers, the pendant catching the light and sparkling mockingly. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the piece of jewelry. It was Emily's, a cherished heirloom that had been passed down through her family for generations. The sight of it in the hands of this woman filled Sarah with a surge of anger and desperation.
Sarah lunged for it, but the woman was too quick. She moved with a speed and agility that took Sarah by surprise, easily evading her grasp. The room seemed to close in around them as they struggled, the air thick with tension. Sarah's mind raced, trying to find a way to outmaneuver her opponent. She knew she had to get the necklace back, not just for Emily, but for the sake of uncovering the truth behind the feud. A struggle ensued, Sarah's heart pounding in her chest. The woman's grip was strong, her movements calculated and precise. Sarah could feel her own strength waning, but she refused to give up. She fought with everything she had, her mind focused on the goal. The room seemed to blur around her. The only thing that mattered was the necklace and the secrets it held. She managed to break free, her blood running cold with the realization that Emily was in grave danger. The woman's taunting laughter echoed in her ears as she fled, the weight of the situation pressing down on her. Sarah's mind raced with thoughts of what to do next, her heart pounding with fear and determination. She knew she had to warn Emily, to protect her from the danger that was closing in. The streets seemed to blur as she ran, her only thought being to reach Emily in time. As sirens wailed in the distance, the police closed in, apprehending the mysterious woman just as she attempted to flee. Sarah watched, her breath ragged, as Detective James placed the woman under arrest. He turned to her, his expression grim.
Her name is Catherine, he said, his voice low and steady. She's been working for Emily's family all along. It seems their feud runs deeper than anyone imagined.
Sarah could only stare, her mind reeling from the revelation. Emily's disappearance was no longer a mystery but a dangerous web of deceit and betrayal. Under the harsh glare of the interrogation room lights, Catherine remained defiant. She refused to divulge Emily's whereabouts, her silence speaking volumes. It was clear that her loyalty to Emily's family ran deep, fueled by a sinister agenda. Meanwhile, Detective James worked tirelessly, piecing together the fragments of evidence. He discovered a series of illicit business dealings and long-held grudges that pointed to a dark underbelly of the seemingly peaceful town. Emily, it seemed, had been caught in the crosshairs of a family legacy steeped in secrets and vengeance. Days turned into weeks, and still, there was no sign of Emily. The once vibrant and bustling town had grown eerily quiet, as if holding its breath, waiting for any news. Sarah, Emily's best friend, spent countless hours staring out the window, her mind racing with thoughts of what could have happened. The community, once tight-knit, was now shrouded in a blanket of fear and uncertainty. Just when hope began to dwindle, a message arrived at the police station. It was late at night, and the station was almost empty, save for a few officers working the graveyard shift. The message was delivered in a plain, unmarked envelope, adding to the mystery and tension that had been building for weeks. It was a single photograph of Emily, bound and gagged, with a chilling note attached. The detective's hands trembled as he held the photo, his face a mask of shock and disbelief. The image was haunting, a stark reminder of the danger Emily was in. The note, written in a scrawled, almost frantic handwriting, sent shivers down the spine of everyone who read it.
The truth will cost you dearly. The words were like a dagger, piercing through the hope that had been slowly fading. It was a clear message, a warning that there would be consequences for uncovering the truth. The room fell silent as the weight of the threat settled in.
The message sent a chill down Sarah's spine. It was a clear threat, a promise of retribution. Sarah's hands shook as she read the note, her mind racing with fear and anxiety. She knew that they were running out of time, and that every second counted. The threat was real, and it was closing in on them. The investigation intensified, but the clock was ticking. The police worked around the clock, examining every piece of evidence, following every lead, no matter how small. The detectives spent countless hours in the dark room piecing together the puzzle, trying to find any clue that would lead them to Emily. The pressure was mounting, and the stakes were higher than ever. Every passing moment brought with it a growing sense of dread. The clock seemed to tick louder with each passing second, a constant reminder of the time slipping away. The silhouette of a person looking out the window at night was a haunting image, a symbol of the fear and uncertainty that had gripped the town. Emily's fate hung precariously in the balance, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of their once peaceful town. The missing person posters that lined the streets were a stark reminder of the reality they were facing. The town, once a place of safety and comfort, had become a place of fear and uncertainty. The darkness that had been lurking beneath the surface had finally come to light, and it was up to them to uncover the truth and bring Emily home. As the sun began its final descent, casting long shadows across Edgewood, the town seemed to hold its breath. The golden hues of the setting sun painted a haunting picture, one that was both beautiful and eerie. The shadows stretched long and thin, like fingers reaching out to grasp the last remnants of daylight. Sarah found herself drawn back to the old warehouse. It was a place she had tried to forget, but its pull was irresistible. The memories of what had happened there were etched into her mind, refusing to fade with time. She stood before it, the building looming over her like a ghost from her past. It stood as a silent sentinel, a haunting reminder of the events that had unfolded. The walls, now covered in ivy and decay, whispered secrets of a time long gone. Every creak of the wooden beams, every rustle of the leaves, seemed to echo the cries of those who had once been there. The air was heavy with unanswered questions and a lingering sense of unease. The fog rolled in, thick and suffocating, wrapping the town in a shroud of mystery. It was as if the very atmosphere was conspiring to keep the truth hidden, to bury the past in shadows.
Despite the uncertainty that lay ahead, I vowed to find Emily. She was more than just a missing person. She was a part of me, a piece of my soul that had been ripped away. The thought of her out there, alone and afraid, was unbearable. I had to bring her back, no matter the cost. I will not rest until justice is served. The people responsible for her disappearance would pay for their crimes. They had taken so much from us, but they would not take our hope. I would see to it that they faced the consequences of their actions. And the truth, however painful, is revealed. The lies and deceit that had clouded our lives would be brought to light. No matter how deep the secrets were buried, I would uncover them. The truth was a powerful weapon, and I intended to wield it with all my might.
As darkness enveloped the town, Sarah stood her ground, her resolve unwavering. The night was her ally, a cloak that hid her from prying eyes. She knew the path ahead would be fraught with danger, but she was ready. Her heart beat with a fierce determination, a fire that would not be extinguished. The fight was far from over. The shadows that lingered in Edgewood were not just physical, they were the embodiment of the fear and uncertainty that gripped the town. But Sarah was not afraid. She had faced the darkness before, and she would do it again. This time she would emerge victorious. This was only the beginning. The journey ahead was long and arduous, but Sarah was prepared. She would navigate the twists and turns, the highs and lows with unwavering resolve. The shadows might linger, but they would not prevail. The light of truth and justice would pierce through the darkness, illuminating the path forward.